When I first got in this 2023 Lexus UX 250h, I was a little bit skeptical, to be honest, but I needed to do a quick road trip down to San Diego so I could film the Prius Prime and the Corolla Cross, and that's what I did. So this is Lexus's entry-level compact SUV. This is their smallest SUV, and this is a hybrid. And after driving it for a couple of hundred miles, actually, I have changed my mind on this vehicle. It's not quite what I thought it was. So the UX actually came out in 2019, but this hybrid version, and I think that's the only version you can get now, debuted in 2022. So this has a 2-liter gas engine, and it is paired with an electric motor in the back, so you actually have all-wheel drive, on-demand all-wheel drive. And there's actually a second electric motor up front paired to the engine. It controls the engine speed, and it works as a generator and a starter. So this turned out to be a very comfortable road trip car, even though it was pouring rain like it's been in California for the last couple of weeks. So this is rated at 39 mpg combined. I was getting 41 on the freeway, and it's actually rated for 38 on the highway, so I think that's actually pretty good. I had a lot of stop-and-go traffic and a lot of sort of 70-mile-an-hour driving, and there was a lot of rain, so it was not the quickest drive. That's pretty good MPG. It's actually comparable to the new Prius. So I'm in the version that's called the F Sport Handling, and it has adaptive dampers. That's the main thing, and it is a little bit firmed up, but let me tell you, the ride on the freeway is really good. This thing soaks up bumps really nicely. This is a pretty competitive segment, I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of different vehicles in this price class that are competing. So let's talk about pricing. The version that I'm in is $43,600 before options, and with options and destinations it's $47,440. So it's not an inexpensive vehicle, but this thing is actually pretty nice to drive. So speaking of that, let's just go for a quick drive and I'll give you my thoughts. So when I started driving this car, I kind of thought this would just be a really nice commuter in the city kind of car, but actually it was very good on my road trip, and I think that probably is part of the electronic dampers that this has. They really do a nice job of softening things up, keeping them firm when you need to, and just sort of smoothing out all the bumps in the road. I'm really a big fan of adaptive dampers in general in cars. So as I was saying before, this is pretty economical. So because of the good MPG, that's why I think this is a pretty good road trip car, actually, when you think about it. It's pretty efficient. I've done a couple hundred miles in this now, and the gas tank is about halfway done. I think I've still got 150 miles worth of range. So I think the total range you're going to get in this is going to be in the 400-mile range. The seating position is quite nice. These seats are quite supportive. They're quite comfortable. They're going to fit a wide range of body types. If you're larger, they're going to be pretty good for you. If you're super skinny, they've got a little bit of bolstering to them. And the material is quite nice. It's Softex, the sort of Lexus style fake leather that they use, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty comfortable. I like the fact that the seats are both heated and cooled. To me, it's kind of a big deal, especially living in California where it can get very hot. And depending on where you are, it can get pretty cold in the mornings too, like it's been lately. We've had so much rain. The steering is pretty typical Lexus, and by that I mean it's light. There isn't a whole lot of feel. I think it's going to be fine for people that are driving this car. I don't think people are expecting this to be a sporty vehicle, even though it has the F Sport Performance moniker on it. This is definitely in no way a sporty vehicle. If you have aspirations of having a sort of hot hatch SUV, this is probably not the right place to be looking. Now, the back seat is a pretty small space, especially for a full-size adult. You can see when I'm sitting back here, my knees don't have a lot of room. It's okay. Headroom is actually not too bad. So if you're going on a short road trip or you've got some kids, this will be fine. The front of the vehicle is roomy and spacious, and it's dominated by this 12.3-inch infotainment system. It's actually quite decent. The driver display is separated into two parts, and you've got this round ring that physically moves over to one side, so you can change the way the display looks and make it a little bit cleaner, a little bit simpler, or you can move it back and you have this little information
information thing on the left-hand side. However, I found that using it, it's actually pretty small. It's a little bit busy. I think it's okay. It's definitely not a deal breaker by any means. You got physical HVAC buttons. You've got a little wireless charger right here. Let's talk about who this vehicle is really for.
This is a really nice vehicle for perhaps a couple, somebody who's single, or you just need to use the back seats occasionally, perhaps for your dogs or some small kids, something like that. But there isn't a whole lot of space behind the front seats. Now, the cargo capacity is actually pretty decent. I'm able to fit my camera gear in there. You can definitely throw in some suitcases. You could definitely easily do a weekend away in this car. It's got more refinement than a Toyota product does. There's just more sound deadening in here. There's more insulation. There's more isolation from the noise of the outside world. It's a pretty quiet place, pretty refined. I like the interior quite a bit. I find this to be a very comfortable car to be driving around. So that's who it's for. There's that CVT action. Total combined horsepower here is about 186, and this car weighs about 3,600 pounds or so with the all-wheel drive option. So no, it's not particularly fast, especially if you load it up with passengers, but that's not really the point. The point is to have a very fuel-efficient car, which I think you're going to see a lot more hybrids from all of the manufacturers. Toyota and Lexus obviously are very experienced in doing hybrids. They're pretty good at it. They do have some different drive modes. You've got S, you've got Plus, S Plus, you've got normal, you've got custom, so you can kind of mess around with the adaptive dampers to make them stiffer or softer. It also tunes the transmission or the CVT and the engine programming too to deliver you a little bit more power or a little bit more economy. I've been driving around in eco mode because I wanted to see what this thing would do on my 200-mile road trip, and it has been pretty economical. Now, this vehicle might not be large enough for some people. That's okay. Lexus has a pretty full line of SUVs going up in size to things that are quite large. Now, personally, I really like this compact format. I like smaller vehicles personally because I live in the city and it's just much easier to park. I've got a relatively small garage.
The network is currently busy. Please try again later.
And of course, the new Lexus information system, the entertainment system, does like to talk to you sometimes. She can be a little non-communicative when she can't connect to the network for whatever reason. I found that the interface is getting a little bit better with this new Lexus interface that they have started rolling out in the last couple of years. The first couple generations of it weren't that good, but it is over-the-air updatable, so they have been making improvements to the Lexus UI, and it's much better than it actually was in the past. There's always people in the comments and people who argue, why didn't Lexus just make this electric? So Lexus is going to be, of Toyota and Lexus, the division that is going to be going EV first. They're committed to going fully electric, I think by 2030, 2035. Put it up on the screen, whatever that date is. And the first vehicle is the RZ. Now, the RZ has a fairly limited range and is a pretty good city vehicle. I'm gonna get it in a couple of weeks, so if you're interested in that, I'll let you know how that is on a quick road trip. But this hybridization that Lexus and Toyota have been going with lately, I think is a pretty reasonable strategy because, at least in my opinion, the charging networks, the public charging networks that are available outside of Tesla are really not that good yet. I've had a lot of bad charging experiences, and if you live in a more rural area, in some states there's just not that much charging infrastructure yet. But obviously that's up to you if you want to go fully electric or you want to stay with something that is hybrid and more traditional and conventional. And that's what this really is. This is a very traditional Lexus style product. It offers what I think is a nice amount of luxury. This is a pretty nice place to spend a quick road trip for I don't know how many hours I was on the road, quite a few. There was a lot of traffic. Nice place to spend some time doing that. So that's what this is really all about. It's pretty typical Lexus. That's not a bad thing necessarily. I know there's a lot of competition in this market, but I think if you're looking for something that is kind of entry-level Lexus or something that's just a little bit smaller, this is a pretty decent choice. I've been enjoying my time driving it, and I hope that you found this helpful. There's another video right here. Go ahead and click it. Thanks for watching.